Next guest is Daniel Turner, president of Power the Future. It's a website you can go online, powerthefuture.com, and see for yourself. We've talked to him before in the past. Daniel, good morning. How are you, sir?
Good morning. Thanks for having me back on, Lee.
Well, I appreciate you coming on. So a couple things I got to throw at you, since your website is all about power and energy, and not all about that, but has a lot to do with that. And I wanted to get your opinion on Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's new Green Deal. Maybe you can spell it out and break it down for everybody.
Yeah, she's really taken Washington by storm with this idea, and I think every single Democrat who is running for 2020 has embraced it. Kamala Harris did last night officially, but Kirsten Gillibrand has, Julian Castro, Elizabeth Warren. So it's the new thing to be supportive of on the left. It's really a crazy policy idea. You can't even call it a serious piece of legislation because it's just a hodgepodge of socialism, a little bit of green and renewable energy, but things like minimum living standard for all Americans, guaranteed job, free health care, free housing. It's just a crazy socialist proposal. But it's getting a lot of traction. People need to learn about it to push back on it.
I think they said somewhere in the vicinity of it would cost, if it really were implemented the way she wanted to, it would cost upwards of like $20 trillion, some crazy number. That is obviously it's not going to happen. But it's that lunacy, that nutty, that thought of that kind of outrageous behavior, that real radical left-leaning behavior. I actually think it's a little scary because people buy into that stuff, and now before you know it, the United States, as we know it, will cease to exist. We'll become a third world country, and it could happen a lot quicker than you think.
You're absolutely right. Elizabeth Warren tweeted yesterday about Jerry Jones and the yacht he bought, and his $100 million yacht, and she excoriated him for it. It's not fair that we live in a country where a man can buy this type of vessel when there are people who are poor. That's not a policy proposal. That's class envy. And America's never been a country of class envy the way Europe has, because they had a aristocratic class, and the way, quite frankly, South America is because they've had a lot of socialism and part of their history. We've never been a country where we've hated each other because they've made more or less money. And the Green New Deal really is that. It's just fostering a sense of it's not fair that you can afford a yacht and I can. Therefore, I want a government proposal that takes your money and gives it to me. That's not what America is.
A generation ago, people would celebrate somebody being a successful businessman. They would, get the pat on the back. Well done, hard work. You really, you took a chance. Now, you're a successful business person. You are looked upon as either greedy or corrupt or part of the problem within the system. It's a complete reversal, and I don't know when it happened or why it happened. Do you?
No, I don't, but it has crept in slowly. It's come a little bit from this millennial generation, no doubt. But look, I started Power of the Future to be a voice for energy workers because I feel like they didn't have one. Someone has to be a voice for the yacht makers, because every time you criticize Jerry Jones for buying a $100 million yacht, well, thousands of people were employed to build that yacht, and do their jobs not matter, right? They were excoriating Jeff Bezos that he does not give enough money to charity. He's only given $145 million to charity, and people have complained that that's not enough. How many tens of thousands of people does Jeff Bezos employ? Is that not contributing to society? So it is a bizarre way to look at class and to look at wealth. And also it's bizarre to be so detached from our current reality. We have the lowest unemployment really on record. Isn't that good for equality and for prosperity? Isn't jobs a better way to go than government-sanctioned stealing?
I would say so. Daniel Turner, president of Power of the Future, the website. You can go online. A lot of great stories. So I'm bouncing around on the website, and this one caught my eye. So U.S. to be energy independent by 2020. What exactly does that mean?
It's unbelievable. We have not produced this much gas and oil and led the world really since the turn of the century, since the 20s and 30s, before the discovery of oil in the Saudi Peninsula. We are at the point now that we are the world's leading oil producer, and we are now starting to export more because we have enough to take care of our own needs. When you add in natural gas, we also have a huge percentage of the world's coal reserves, right? And so to put America in a position of absolute autonomy, President Trump calls it energy dominance. A lot of our allies don't have that. Nobody in Europe, with the exception of Russia, has energy reserves. They all are dependent on other countries. Israel is 100% dependent on other countries for their energy. America and really Canada are the only two where we can have OPEC raise prices, we can have embargoes, we can have the chaos you see in Venezuela. It may affect world markets, but it will affect our economy. And what an amazing position of leverage that puts America and its allies in.
I mean, for the longest time, one of the things that I would say here on the radio is, especially when OPEC or someone over in the Middle East would do something horrendous or raise our oil prices through the roof, I would just say, let's figure out a way to do it or get it ourselves and let them choke on it, right? So let them choke on it, and that's basically kind of where we're getting to, right?
Exactly. And you need to have more and more people need to push back the narrative when it comes to energy and even environmental issues. I am old enough to remember, and I was a kid, when they talked about peak oil and how we will be out of oil by the late 1990s. The year 2000, Jimmy Carter said by the year 2000, right, we will be out of oil and we will need alternatives. Well, now they say the same nonsense about climate change and how we have 12 years of Ms. Ocasio-Cortez said that. We have 12 years before the world will end because of climate change. Well, didn't 1,500 experts just 30 years ago say we would be out of oil? Didn't those 1,500 experts 20 years ago say the oceans will be dead and out of fish? And so sometimes those experts get together, they write a letter, and they have ulterior motives that aren't necessarily scientific or accurate.
I can remember when I was a kid, I think it was Time Magazine on the cover said that we're going into the next ice age, right?
Yes.
That was the thing back in the day when I was a kid. Anyway, listen, Daniel Turner is our guest this morning. We appreciate him coming on. The website is Power of the Future. Check it out for yourself. One more thing before I let you go. So you're actually from New York originally. And it looks like Cuomo is coming for your plastic bags, right? What do you think of that?
Yeah, I mean, he's jumping on the plastic bag bandwagon. A lot of places have already instituted this. Cuomo has no idea what he stands for. He will just get pushed by whatever lefty group really contributes to his campaign. His corruption knows no bounds, but his lack of scientific evidence and his lack of economic prowess. New York is sitting on a gold mine of natural gas, but his fracking ban keeps millions of people below poverty or below their potential because of his stupid fracking ban. His plastic bag bans, he is an absolute moron when it comes to policy, and he has destroyed a state that I love. I encourage my family to leave because New York is not coming back anytime soon, and it breaks my heart.
Daniel, give everybody your website. They can go check it out.
PowerTheFuture.com. I'd love to hear from them and love being on your show and talking about all these issues.
All right, my friend, thank you very much. I'll talk real soon.
Thank you.
All right, man. Appreciate that.